Think about evolution. Evolution told you that greatness, and diversity had to evolve from a cataclysm. Think about evolution for a minute. It tell you in the beginning, it was these dumb ass ape creatures, Planet of the Apes, running around like Flintstones, didn't know shit. And then all of a sudden when the Greeks took over and Darwin came and all that, we get these stories like that in the beginning God created humans as a primitive ape-like creature, and that over time this primitive creation had to evolve into greatness. In other words, what man wants you to believe is that the Most High didn't create greatness in the beginning. They want you to believe that when you go back to the beginning, that the Most High was dumber than a motherfucker. Think about this. They tell you that the far back you go, the dumber the humans get. To the point when you go all the way back, they on some Flintstone type shit, living in caves and bones and all that shit. So they telling you if you go all the way, keep going back, it get dumber and dumber. So they telling you when you get all the way back to the creator was dumb as fuck. Because if the further back you go, the dumber it get. Then they telling you the Most High is dumb. They playing a joke on you. The Most High created this beautiful reality in the beginning. It didn't have to evolve from no dumb shit. The Most High created this beautiful place and all this balance in the beginning. And it didn't have to evolve from no dumb shit. Guess what? The Most High was so smart that the Most High knew I shouldn't just make a white rose and then all the other colors got to come from the white rose. I might as well just make all the colors right now. You don't think the Most High was that smart? Now science wants you to think that one of the colors came before the next one, like a fool. Let me tell you something.
Stupid.
That's just like goddamn. That's just like I got birds in my house. That's just like the blue bird arguing with the green bird. Which one of us come first? Motherfucker, the Most High created all the colors in the rainbow at the same time. Scientists want you to believe it was black was created first and then all the other colors come from black. No, black is a fucking color. Darkness created every color you talking about, even black. Darkness ain't a color, it's a hidden element. It's what gave birth to all the other elements. So they took the concept of darkness and turned it into blackness. And they say everybody come from the black land, which is Kemet. But when you go all the way back to that land, you'll see that the word Kim ain't have nothing to do with black people. It was talking about the black dirt around the Nile River. The black land because of the black fertile soil.
I don't think people understand what's really being said sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, you got the Big Bang. Before you can have anything, you got to have the elements. The Big Bang happens. And so there's this massive explosion. And within the first 15 and 30 seconds, all the helium in the universe is created. And the reason why they got to say that, because they know you can't have nothing without helium and hydrogen. From here, supposedly all these atoms, they're spreading out with all this massive, speed. And so they begin to collide. And as they collide, the nucleus of these atoms begin to fuse. They call it fusion. And so then you get helium, and then the atoms collide, and it creates a new element. Then you get hydrogen, and on up the periodic scale. Now, keep in mind that this is an accident, right? So-called. So through this fusion, you started creating all these elements, and you get up to the element iron through fusion. Now they say because after iron, the elements get heavier, so you don't have enough force to create the rest of the elements. So this is where the sun comes in. So somehow through this accident and these elements that's being created, these elements somehow intelligently get together and form the sun through gravity. So they get pulled together and they create this sun that is basically a big fusion ball.
You're explaining to them the creation story of the cosmos right now, right?
According to evolution.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this is what they're saying. And I'm just showing people how ridiculous it is if there's no intelligence behind it. Because this is all an accident, right? So now remember, when you look at the periodic table, it's mathematically precise, meaning from the first element to the last, the nucleus in them goes up a number each time. The periodic table is mathematically in chronological order. So that's one thing. But anyway, so they get to the sun. Somehow the sun forms. It's no intelligence. I guess it's an accident. There's these gases and there's gravity, and it pulls this ball of gas together, and it becomes this intelligent fusion ball. You know what I'm saying? Where it's creating the elements. Because they tell you, all the elements come out the sun. Everything comes out of the sun. And so eventually, as time goes on, the sun's going to explode, right? This is what they call a supernova. Through that explosion, this is how you're going to get the other elements after iron, the gold and all this other stuff. And and then you got all this nebulae gas, and gravity starts to pull this space dust together. This is how you form the planets. And they become these big balls of rock. Now, how they get in mathematical order, you know what I'm saying, in orbit and all that, it's all an accident. But eventually you get the Earth. And the Earth is just one big ball of hot magma. There's no life on it or anything. And then basically they say they have something they call torrential rains. And it starts to rain for millions of years on the Earth. This is how you get your oceans, right? And supposedly the first single cell organism springs out of these chemicals in the ocean, because you have all what's called the chemicals of life. But the thing about it is the first single cell comes fully developed. It's going to the bathroom. It's reproducing. It has DNA. DNA is a complex programming code. Just like you have binary code on computers with ones and zeros, DNA is a 4-bit chemical code with instructions to build 3-dimensional biological organisms. You can't develop that through evolution, because one thing about programming, right, is that you know that we can't read binary code, right? So something has to translate that. When you press the X on your computer, that could be 00100100, right? Binary code, on and off, positive and negative. The same thing happens in DNA. Not only is it instructions, but inside the DNA is the translator to express what's being written inside the DNA. So it had to come fully equipped, or it wouldn't even be able to express itself. This is expressed through something called ribosomes. So DNA is a more complicated language than computer language. Now, and it's mathematical. How do you develop that by accident without an intelligent mind body? It's basically a language. You understand what I'm saying? So they can't even get around that. And that's why when they talk about evolution, now they try to say, well, we don't deal with before we get biology, because they can't explain how you get life from non-living material, from lifeless chemicals, basically. Because you can't. In order for there to be life, there always had to be life. That's why there's God. So these people are really atheists and Satanists, man. And, a lot of people don't believe in it. Demons, but I believe they're possessed by evil spirits to even try to push this stuff on people.
You so right, brother. And the crazy thing about it is an atheist is one who don't supposed to deal with beliefs. And the foundation of everything they sell us is based upon Western beliefs. Think about it. If black people gave birth to all these different races we see on the earth, all these different variations of people on the earth, we'll still see them doing it now. It'll be black couples giving out birth to Bruce Lees and shit. You don't see this. And then they say that, they want you to believe black people gave birth to white people. Every race produced albinos, and albino is not a white person. Albinos come in every race. Even different animals are albino. It's an albino flower of every race. So you've been lied to, people, and we need to go back to the drawing board and ask these questions if you really want to know the true mystery of who you are, what you are, who you are. See, it's a price to pay. And that means that men that you was wrong for thinking that you ever knew who you were based upon liars teaching it to you since you was born. So since you know that's the case, if you really want to know who you are, what you are, your origins, understand first that you don't know shit right now. Get that on out your heart. Get past the ego. Understand you've been lied to. Then you can start fresh. And hey, look, because the shit that I'm learning about us, man, is beautiful. And see, that's why they came with Bigfoot, Sasquatch. That's them trying to create the missing link. They know Darwin was full of shit and he was a racist. Check it out. The joke is, if you want to be first, you got to be a monkey. That's the joke. And the crazy thing about that joke is it's sad, because if you want to be first in science and mythology, you're going to be last in reality. So the people who they teaching that y'all was first, y'all come from monkeys. Yeah, you first in mythology, you first in Darwinism, but you last when you wake your ass up and go out there in this society. You can't have them both. You want to be first in motherfucking mythology, you're going to be last in reality.